Yeah.
And so, yes, it's a very interesting thing, these words we use that can be poetry in motion. I interviewed a beautiful man, Richard Rudd, in the last Symposium, who's the recipient and author of a book called Gene Keys. And it's a beautiful mystical revelation that he had. And right now, the book itself is a 500-page book. And it doesn't include everything that was delivered, because how could you do that, right? But the man is a poet and a mystic. And so to find the words, he was a perfect recipient for that transmission, because the words are what will carry it. And that's part of what I hear you saying, is that words and the energy they carry is what, enlivens.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, words anchor states. And so, the choice that we're making right now is to anchor a state that produces optimized vitality. And so what words can we use that do that? And how words are actually made of sounds. I find it fascinating that in this language, that all of the sounds that we're using can be divided into two categories, vowels and consonants. And that vowels are all freely emitted passages of sound, whereas consonants are all stopped. B, d, g, z, j, v, m, as opposed to a, e, ow, that are given their own specific tones by lip and tongue shapes. So when we from a creative point of view, when we relate that piece of information to language, that, for example, the area that I know so well, which is the Elizabethan Jacobean canon of English dramatic literature, that Shakespeare is essentially very vowel-rich, communicates the import, the vitality, the substance of the story, of what the character is really going through, with immense clarity. We know that, for example, during the English Civil War, the theatres were closed for 25, nearly 30 years by the Puritans. And then when the Restoration took place at the end of the 1600s, and Charles II came back from France, where he'd been as an exile with Louis XIV, he brought with him all the manners and all the language of that, although obviously translated from French into English. The theatres were reinstated, but they became theatre of wit. And the language is essentially consonantal. So there's I've just begun a huge thesis to do with the nature of the way that sound anchors states within our beings, and how come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove means one thing. But as soon as we move into wit, we move into a cerebral resonance that goes rather like this. And to be honest, I can't quite quote anything from Congreve's Way of the World, but it would be, Mr. Fainall, are you really content with what you're doing? It would automatically be
right,
bitten into shape, because that's what wit is. It's a cerebral humor. It's not a bad laugh.
And then there's no resonance in the body.
Yeah.
Right. I think that you spoke, and many of our guests speakers have spoken of this, that there's that vitality that is not about the person and not about the body. That is life, that vitality that is life. And then there's the vitality as we know it within. And as you're speaking now, like, to me, the resonance is part of the experience of vitality.
Yeah.
And with well-being, like even the act of toning or humming, when you're, like, if you have an upset stomach, and you might moan or hum a little bit, and that vibration actually is serving your healing.
Oh, absolutely. That sound is a transformative. A problem shared is a problem halved. That if we're not feeling well and we make sound, it makes us feel better.